This episode of Worst Episode Ever is brought to you by our friends at jock.com. That's JOQ.com. Jack, have you heard of jock.com?
I have.
We've been talking about it for the past 3 weeks. This is our fourth one.
They're kind of like the, I'm not sure if you remember this show.
Okay.
But not sure. I'm 100% sure that you remember this show, but it's called Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
I do certainly remember this.
It's about a team of superheroes that protected the internet.
Yes.
And
I remember.
Circuits and
Matthew
such.
Lawrence
yeah,
was,
of course. So Jock.com was actually the inspiration for that show. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but that's awesome.
They have a team of experts who just know the internet like the backs of their hands, and they are just fighting viruses and making the internet a better place.
So the people at jock.com physically go into the internet to make your digital business solutions, whether it's a website, an app, anything, a program, they can do it all because they are magic.
They form a Voltron-like thing.
Being.
being.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is all metaphor, obviously. This is all metaphorically speaking.
I thought we were talking literally.
No,
all right,
no,
well,
no.
jock.com is still good anyway, even if they're not literally going into the internet.
They're great.
They're literally in a figurative sense.
I would recommend them to all of our listeners, whoever needs apps, internet services, digital solutions.
And guys, if you want free web hosting for 1 year, that's right, 1 year, all you have to do is email jock.com, use our promo code, which is WeCruise, and they will hook you up.
All right, I don't want to throw a monkey wrench into the works here, but isn't next year a leap year? So are they getting an extra day? Are they getting 366 days for the price of 365?
Jock.com will hook you up with that extra day. You're getting the 366 at the 365 price, which is 0 for we listeners. So check it out, guys. It's jock.com. That's JOQ.com.
Okay, here we are. Alt.nerd.obsessive.
Hey everybody, welcome to Worst Episode Ever, a podcast for people who love The Simpsons, by people who love The Simpsons, about how much we hate The Simpsons. We're here trying to find which is the worst episode ever. As always, my name is Dan.
As always, my name is Jack.
And Merry Christmas to you, Jack, and to you, the wee listener.
Oh, thank you. On behalf of the wee listeners, thank you as well.
Thank you for assuming millions and millions of people's opinions.
That's what I do.
We do have millions and millions of listeners.
Actually, I do not share the opinion of most of our listeners, because if you've been checking out our Reddit, I've been vehemently trying to get Hemus killed off by our New Year's show, and I've just been, pretty much has been a mutiny, and people are ready to kill me off the show.
Yes, you were downvoted into oblivion on Reddit.
I didn't even know there was negative votes in Reddit. Now I know. I'm shocked that you've... all right, what is funny about Hemus?
What's so shocking that they love Hemus?
Please tell me what is so funny about Hemus coming in and going, "It's me, Hemus," and then going, "Oh, this isn't funny. I'm leaving."
Everything Hemus does is funny. Merry Christmas!
Look, I get that DiCaprio and Sideshow Mel, I think it's like neck and neck. I think maybe DiCaprio's got
I think DiCaprio may be killed.
The lead. Yeah. Look, I will, if you guys... I mean, it doesn't matter. I guess you don't care. But like I said, I would kill off DiCaprio willingly, 2 for the price of 1, if you guys vote Hemus off the island.
Well, the people have spoken, and they want Hemus to stay, and stay he shall.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like, do you remember in high school, there was like that really dumb-looking kid that we voted for the student council president, and it was kind of just like a big ironic joke, and it was really mean. I'm hoping that's what's going on.
Yes, I remember when you became student council president. Bam! Bam!
Well, I'm hoping that's what's going on with Hemus. I hope they're all just being ironic.
Well,
our ironic Gen X listeners.
I don't think so. I think everyone loves the H-Man.
Oh, God.
But anyway, it is Christmas Eve if you're listening to this the day it comes out. So Merry Christmas. You're choosing to listen to a wacky podcast about The Simpsons that features...
spending time with your family.
Instead of spending time with your family. So we always appreciate that. And
I'm just picturing our wee listeners like at the dinner table while everybody is sharing the stories of the year. And
one of them's just like, "I love Hemus!" And their mother's like, "Excuse me, son? Please get a girlfriend." Or a boyfriend, either way.
Yeah,
we just want you out of the house.
Yeah, anything's better than listening to our show.
Guys, your parents are worried about you. Please talk to them at Christmas time. But anyway, since it is Christmas, we are doing a Christmas episode. We're going to be watching Season 26's I Won't Be Home for Christmas. Originally aired December of 2014. Jack, have you seen this one?
Sort of. I had just came from medieval times about a year ago this month.
Okay.
And I went to a bar afterwards, and it was on on mute with like closed captioning, and I kind of watched like 5 minutes of it while I was ordering my beer. And I texted you. I don't know if you remember this. I was like, "Hey, there's a Christmas episode. It looks stupid. We should cover this one."
Well, we're getting to it. And it was also suggested by listener at Hey Jay Shaw. So I'm assuming your name is Jay Shaw. So thanks, Jay, for the suggestion. We're going to take a break in a moment and watch this episode. And before we do that, if you've not seen the episode, you can watch it on simpsonsworld.com. I don't think there's a DVD of season 26. Maybe there is. Who knows? Who knows what they're doing nowadays?
Laser beam it to your brain.
They laser beam it to your brain. So however you can get it, do that. But simpsonsworld.com will have it if you're in the U.S. And you can buy it somehow, perhaps on amazon.com. And if you go to wepodcast.com, wepodcast.com, that's our website. Click through our banners and our links to Amazon and then shop like you normally would. That helps keep the show free.
Yeah, it's not too late to do Christmas shopping.
It's not.
If you're
listening to this the day it comes out, you literally have one day.
Yeah.
So get on it.
And you can get Boxing Day gifts. Then you have 2 days.
Boxing Day, New Year's Day gifts.
New Year's Day.
Martin Luther King Day's fast approaching.
Get those Martin Luther King gifts now.
Get them. I have a dream that you will click through wepodcast.com. So thanks, guys. You guys have really been great this holiday season. We were able to buy a lot more equipment, so hopefully when we bring our guest in later today, you'll notice that she sounds much better than our past guests have sounded in tin cans and whatnot. Okay, so we're going to take a break and watch I Won't Be Home for Christmas, and you guys should do that too.
Homer Simpson! I never thought I'd say this to someone I cared for, much less my husband. But I'm saying it now. I don't want you here on Christmas.
Marge, think about what you're saying. It's Sir Isaac Newton's birthday.
Out now!
So, we forgot to plug our sync points at the top of the show.
Yes, it's Christmas time.
Yeah, last Tuesday, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not a week before, 10 days ago about.
Yes, it hasn't happened when we recorded it. So.
We released our second sync points, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yes.
It's available now for $2.
$2.
So if you're bored, you don't know what to do on Christmas Eve.
It's streaming on HBO Go, HBO Now. You can get our commentary and listen along.
Help support the show.
Yep.
And listen to us talk for 2 hours.
You guys could just buy it and support the show. You don't have to listen to it. Although I actually do think it was quite good. So check it out.
Listen to it.
Yeah, maybe listen to it.
You haven't listened to it.
I started to. I was there when we recorded it. So check that out. Go to our website. You can find more information about that.
And so that was also I Won't Be Home for Christmas.
Yes.
Right? That was the name of the episode?
I Won't Be Home for
Christmas.
Correct.
Before we get into our recap of the plot.
Oh, yeah.
We have a guest. Dan, you'd like to introduce?
Yes. So our guest today is Miss Lani Harms. Lani, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. You're our first female guest, which is a big get for us.
Yes, I am very proud of you guys for including the other gender.
Yeah, it only took 63 episodes.
Yeah, 63 episodes. But we made it, so we're happy you're here.
Proud to be here.
Let's get your Simpsons profile.
Yeah.
My Simpsons profile. Well, growing up, we always watched The Simpsons. I have an older brother, and he was very into The Simpsons. So Fox had the 2 slots. What was it, 6 o'clock, 6:30, or
it always changed. It was always
around dinner. That's all I know.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was always either happening during dinner or before and after or just after, whatever.
Right.
So it was like pretty much Monday through Friday Simpsons every night.
It's a great point. We've never really talked about that on the show. I feel like most Simpsons fans, myself included, probably Dan, the Simpsons that got burned into our DNA wasn't from the Sunday nights. It was from the syndication.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was from just watching. I never had copies of the. We talk about freeze frame gags because people would record them on VHS. I never owned any copies of the show. I just watched them in syndication over.
Did you record them ever? Because I had like multiple tapes.
No, I know you did, but I feel like a
episodes.
lot of people didn't and just watched it whenever it was on the air. But because it was so ubiquitous.
Yeah, it was like always on during dinner. And I do remember when my brother got the first DVD sets when those first were coming out, and that was very exciting.
That was
then
big deal.
then we could watch it at night. And
we could watch it whenever we want.
Whenever we want.
Season 1 at first, but you know.
They stopped at a certain point, but it was really fun collecting the boxes and setting them all together.
Oh, yeah.
But then there was the first few seasons because they came out one set at a time, one season at a time.
Yeah, I think it was like one a year.
Yeah.
So it was a long wait.
That was tough, though, because the first as we all know, it takes a few seasons for it to really get its steam. So it was kind of like, I'm so excited to have these DVDs, but I forgot I didn't really like the first season.
It's the one where Bart is a genius.
So what is your favorite season?
Oh, gosh.
Or favorite seasons?
That's really hard. I mean, I want to say like 10. Season 10.
Really?
Season 10, really?
10. I mean, I am ballparking here.
Okay.
Because
what are some of your favorite episodes?
I actually just watched one of my favorite episodes last week. The one where Lisa Simpson goes to the museum and finds out the true story of Jebediah Springfield.
Yes, season 7.
Is that
Lisa
7?
the Iconoclast.
Oh,
A classic.
Yes, very good.
You and your children and your children's children for 3 months.
Like, amazing.
Yeah,
And that was really, I love Lisa. Like, and I also remembered how much of an influence she was and how inspiring she was, especially as like a little girl watching The Simpsons. She was a really good role model. It was like amazing. Like
She sets kind of high standards for 8-year-olds.
she does, but it's good to shoot for the moon, you know.
That is true.
Do you still watch the show?
No, I don't. That's the problem. Like
It's not a problem.
No, I feel like it's a problem because I can't really quote exactly. I can't say what seasons I love exactly because it's been so long.
Probably not the ones that are airing right now.
When did you stop watching?
I mean, honestly, probably when my brother went away for college.
Which was
2004.
Okay.
He left for college.
So you probably were watching some pretty late stinkers.
Yeah, and that right before he left, it was getting bad. So
It's interesting. That's about the time that we stopped watching too, like 2004, 2003-ish.
Yeah,
like
I
season
stopped
14,
a little
15,
earlier.
16.
Yeah, I think my brother might be like your age.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was about when I stopped watching, and I was going to go back every now and then, but then high school started, and then like, oh, so much is going on. I can't watch this.
Too cool.
That's right. Everyone's
cool
talking
for
about
school.
Family Guy now and all those other shows.
I do still, my favorite joke ever of The Simpsons is when Bart goes to the Smokey the Bear thing. And,
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going with this.
who can prevent forest fires? He presses the button. You pressed you, referring to me. The correct answer is you.
Excellent joke. Excellent episode.
Love it. I still quote it to this day.
For the curious, it's Mountain of Madness, season 8.
Okay, then that is there. There we go. 7 and 8.
Yeah, I think those are
years.
great seasons.
That's can't really get better than that. So let's talk about this season. This season was what, season 26?
This is last year, season 26.
And
Let's talk about this episode.
This episode was, again, the name of it was, I'm stalling.
I
I won't be home
Christmas.
for Christmas. So real quick plot recap. It's Christmas Eve. The entire episode, I guess, takes place on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. And Homer is at work, and Marge is waiting for him to get home for dinner. And she's really insistent that he gets there. She really wants him to be there with the family. But Moe tricks him into staying at Moe's and getting some beers. He pities him and tricks him and all these other reasons. So he is very late. Marge is furious, kicks him out of the house. So now he's just trying to find something to do on Christmas. He's very lonely. Everything's closed down. He can't find anybody to bond with. He's just doesn't have anywhere to spend Christmas Eve with. Meanwhile, Marge realizes, or Moe tells Marge that he was the reason Homer was late. So she's like, "Oh, I guess I was wrong. Let me go plead for forgiveness from Homer." So she and the kids track Homer down throughout Springfield, and eventually they all reunite and have a Merry Christmas.
There you go.
And then there's some scene with God and Jesus. That was
Well, we'll get there. So let's talk about the opening and kind of the couch gag. So there was a Christmasized opening where everyone was an elf.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Now that they do the HD era theme song, it looks like they're more willing to do versions of it. They did. I think they did a Halloween one.
Yeah.
I feel like there's other ones we've seen that were thematic.
I
liked it a lot.
I thought it was really cute overall. Lanny, what did you think of it?
I felt like it was forced. Maybe that's just because I haven't been watching many of these
newer
episodes like you guys have.
We take good things where we can find them in these later ones.
I think what I like about them when they do this is, for the most part, it's so simple. It's nothing brilliant or genius, but you can't. You'd have to really go out of your way to try to fuck it up. Whereas their jokes and the dialogue and the story is just so mediocre, if not just outright horrible. So like this is kind of, I don't know, hedging your bets. It's not going to be that terrible. At worst, it's just kind of eye-rolling.
Yeah, I mean, there was at least some sweetness to it. Like, you had Maggie giving baby Gerald the gift.
Yeah, although he said defective baby because he had a unibrow. So
I guess that's why.
All Greek people are defective.
And all Greek people have unibrows, apparently, to you, Jack.
Yes, they do.
All right,
Speaking of cheap jokes, though, and then having the bus driver smoking out of the bowl, I don't...
That was the biggest one I didn't like.
Yeah, same. So what happens is Otto is given a candy cane, and he immediately just smokes it as if it was a bong or something. and it was just like, what is actually
Yeah,
happening here?
that
Why
takes
are
you
you
out of
making this
the
easy joke?
holiday fun
Yeah,
family
it's just-
spirit. You don't need that.
It's a school bus driver.
Right, and I feel like they've done that so much with Otto, especially
They've
in the
really
later
played
seasons.
up the drug jokes.
Just like really hammered it into the ground. So that I didn't like.
And the biggest thing I think was the biggest strength of the opening theme was the music. I think they really tried. They didn't half-ass it. They came up with a great Christmasized version of the
of the Danny Elfman.
It looks like they recorded it with a big orchestra. It was very vibrant, very loud. And then at the end of the show, they did like a melody of different Simpsons-ized Christmas songs. It was just really nice. It was nice that they put some effort into it.
It put us in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, it was very triumphant, very very vibrant.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
So then they go to the couch gag, and there's just a title card that says obligatory Frozen reference to come.
First of all,
Is it obligatory?
Is it obligatory?
Do you have to do a Frozen reference?
Second of all, do you have to call out that it's like?
Yeah.
Come on, that's.
I guess this happened last year, right? 2014, when Frozen
Yes.
was
Yeah.
insanely
I mean,
huge.
Frozen
Yeah.
was insanely huge, but
That doesn't mean they have to.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Look,
no.
Jurassic Park was insanely huge in 1993, and then in the season after that, there was probably 2 or 3 great Jurassic Park gags, but they didn't
Yeah.
have a title card that said obligatory Jurassic Park reference.
Yeah. I feel like that, like winking at the audience, is just way overdone these days.
Yeah,
like in
it's
these
too
later
much.
seasons, this was only last season, so they just do it so
The
much.
impression I get is they're like kind of poo-pooing Frozen. They're like, guys, we think Frozen's kind of for dumb and for kids, and we don't really want to do a Frozen
We're
reference.
throwing a bone to the Frozen
Yeah,
fans who
it's
are
like-
waiting for the Simpsons to
Yeah,
comment
it's almost
on
like
it.
they're trying to be,
Yeah.
detached and too cool for school. Like,
Exactly.
we're just doing this because we have to.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't have to. And,
Don't have to.
And if you're gonna own it, like, just live up to it.
No.
And if you're gonna like make it funny, there was nothing in it. It was just like
They were
Lisa
doing it.
was Elsa and she built a tower, like
Yeah.
a snow tower.
I have no idea what the movie's
And then-
about.
then
I'm
Homer
starting
came
to
out.
realize there's like a dopey looking snowman that's
There
involved.
is.
Right,
Voiced
yeah.
by Josh Gad.
It's completely over my head. I have no idea what Frozen's about, what it is. I know it's super popular. I've got a copy of it. I've been meaning to watch it for like over a year. I just never in the mood.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. I don't know, Lady. Did
No,
you like Frozen?
I think I liked it. By the time I saw it was way after the hype had
Yeah.
already blown over.
Yeah.
So I had high expectations.
Is it as good as like Lion King and
No,
No,
no way.
no. I mean, it's good.
It's a
just
cute
not
movie.
I mean, it
great.
seems to be the biggest Disney movie in a very long time.
I don't understand why it's so big. I mean, it sort of has a positive message for young girls.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like it does have 2 very strong female
Yeah.
characters and a very strong female relationship. That's
Right.
not about men, It's
Right.
about
Well, I
a
don't like
sisterly
that.
relationship. I don't like.
I think you're already convincing me not to.
We don't want
watch
the
it.
women to get too strong and take away the men.
I just
No.
want all topless men in my Disney cartoons. I want the Tramp and the Tramp.
Maybe that's for another podcast.
Yeah.
That's my Gay Tramp podcast.
You want the sword and the stone and
Yeah,
just a couple of swords.
Yeah, I just want a couple of swords, no stones. Just 2 swords clanging against each other.
I've seen better swords, Jack. Okay, so that's
My
it.
goodness, learning a lot about you.
Yeah.
Well,
here.
you know,
We
We,
like dick.
There it
Merry
is.
Because it was
Christmas.
not-
Obligatory. We like dick
Obligatory
reference.
dick
Because
reference.
it was not obvious
No,
before.
No.
No, it was not. All right, so that's it for the Frozen thing. This was a weird thing. So the episode proper starts with the children of Springfield just ice skating on frozen toxic waste outside of the power plant.
That was
Yeah.
weird.
And it was just like a 2-second thing that, this episode, there were a lot of scenes that just didn't connect to anything else. I guess
Yeah.
it was just like slice of life, Christmas in Springfield
Yeah.
stuff.
I could relate to that. My cousins had a raw sewage in the back of their backyard, in the woods behind their yard. Again, we grew up on Staten Island.
right.
So
So the whole city is raw
Yeah,
sewage.
it was just like this pit. It was in the woods down by Tottenville, for whoever knows where that is.
The
in
5
Staten
people
Island.
who know.
Yeah, and there was like raw sewage, and it froze over, and we were like walking on it. It was like, this is cool. We didn't have ice skates or anything, but we were walking on the ice, and then it cracked and it fell, and my cousins both fell into it.
Oh my
And
God.
I grabbed like a tree, and I was like dangling over it. And I was just like, no. I finally I got like my feet wet, and we all had to get out, and like it was a Christmas party, so I
Jeez.
wasn't home. Obviously, I was at their house, and we all had to like change clothes because we had like sewage all over us.
yeah, you're
And I was
covered
like-
in literal
and I was
shit.
like so proud that I had like did this cool action movie thing. You know, I was like 9, 10 years old, but I was so proud that I was dangling, and it was a very cool action movie kind of stunt. So I was like, I didn't fall in the ice. I was awesome. Meanwhile, my socks were soaked, and like you got to take the sewage off your socks.
Yeah, right.
You got to change your socks. And I was like, no, that would take away from my victory. And like, you can't walk around with poop on your feet.
Crazy that you have such a you so specifically relate to this
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah,
that's
it's
insane.
like it was made for you.
Well,
I don't know
again,
if a lot of people
yeah.
have these sewage ice frozen over stories.
Most Staten Islanders probably have some kind of frozen sewage story.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair
We
point.
did grow up on the world's largest dump.
They're turning into a park now,
Yeah.
Jack.
You either have sewage stories or cancer stories.
Or both, if you're lucky.
It's got to be related.
Yeah, I think so. So that was the very first scene, and then it goes to the Android's Dungeon, the comic book store, where a comic book guy is cuddling up with a Japanese woman.
Yeah, his wife.
I thought I had missed something from a previous episode.
We apparently did. So I looked it up afterwards. That is Kamiko, his wife.
Yeah, good for him.
He's apparently gotten married, and so we'll have to watch that episode at some point.
Yeah, of
I
course.
hope it was handled responsibly.
Yeah, I mean, her characterization was a little one note, let's say.
Yeah, well, it was one scene.
Yeah.
You're right. It's hard to
I
judge.
did like that scene, though. So first of all, they brought back Cosmic Wars, the Springfield analog of Star Wars. It was the
I actually think it was Star Wars
No,
that
it
they
said
actually
Cosmic
said.
Wars Holiday Special.
I'm not sure it did.
It did. It literally said Cosmic Wars Holiday Special.
You keep talking. I'm going to look.
Wait, it
I'm going to look.
I'm not like guessing. I saw the words Cosmic Wars Holiday Special on it. Anyway, so Cosmic Wars is this thing they do. It's like this Star Wars parody where they change all the names, and it's so stupid because they should just call it Star Wars. And in this is the first time we've seen these characters, R2 and C-3PO, in the fake Simpsons Star Wars universe.
It looked just like them,
Yeah,
yeah.
and his name was R3 instead of R2.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's just
silly.
That's clever.
instead of like Jim Bonks or I can't remember what Yoda was called, but R3. It's just I hate the Cosmic Wars so much. I just don't know why they
Yeah.
can't just call it Star Wars. They could have just, although to be honest, if they had just animated the Star Wars Holiday Special, it probably wouldn't have been as funny as their version of the Star Wars Holiday Special, which was like a bunch of Darth Vaders having like a turkey dinner.
That was
So
something
they
I
do
really
this
liked.
a
Yeah.
lot? They watched.
They referenced the Cosmic Wars thing. I can't find an image
I mean,
where
I
it
can
said
show.
Star Wars
I
Cosmic
can
Special.
replay the video. It's literally said he had like a VHS, and there was tape on it, and written in his handwriting was Cosmic Wars Holiday
On
Special.
Wikipedia, it says
Do you-
Star Wars Cosmic Special. I'm just saying. And I
That
didn't
doesn't
change
even make
it. I didn't
sense. Star
change
Wars
Wikipedia.
Cosmic Special. It would be Cosmic Wars Holiday Special. That's what it said. I literally just saw it 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
We'll have to figure this out. But did you guys notice that when he opened it up and like they were about to watch it, that he said you're about to watch the worst half hour of television in your life at the beginning of this episode?
Great point.
I was
Great
like,
point.
Why are they setting themselves up for failure? That has to be
It's
pointed.
cutesy.
It's cutesy, and it was
They think
accurate.
they're being meta, and I did think they accurately captured hate watching. He's like, this is
Yeah,
this
they
is as bad as the last time I watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
Like,
It felt very meta for what we were doing.
yeah, definitely.
Very true.
As somebody who hate watches, I certainly appreciated it.
Yeah.
And then we get a quick scene with Hans Moleman, who apparently lives above the comic book store because they just pan up to see him.
Oh.
I actually really liked this. He has a card from Dr. Hibbert, and it says, your test came back positive, and you open it up, and it's positive that you have a Merry Christmas. And then there's a little note inside like, no, but it really did come back positive. Call me as soon as you can.
That was funny.
It was
I
not
thought it
bad.
was a funny gag.
Yeah.
It was cute. Then we get into the actual Simpsons family. We see Marge is trimming the tree, which Christmas Eve at night, waiting till the last minute, Marge.
Yeah.
And she
That's a good
almost
point.
she almost dies falling off of a ladder, and then she says, "Oh, I wish Homer were here."
Although, didn't she say, Bart, hold the ladder, and Bart had somehow
Right,
abandoned her?
Bart was gone,
So
and
why
it was
she mad at
Maggie
Homer,
instead.
who's at work? I work on Christmas Eve. It's just how it is. Why you mad at Homer when you clearly were expecting Bart to hold the ladder, and he kind of just wandered off and almost got his mother killed? I don't know.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Mom. You're dead. Yeah, I mean, there was kind of nothing there. There was actually, that was the beginning of a weird little runner that went throughout the episode with Maggie, where she, I don't know if she broke the Christmas star or she tried to fix the Christmas star.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
And then ultimately at the end, she traces her own head on construction paper and makes a star shaped like her
I think
head.
she noticed that the Christmas star was the same shape as her head, and then
Yeah.
she was like inspired or something.
Oh, I missed all. I remember her making the star at the end. I missed all those other beats.
Yeah, she picks it up and it's broken, and she puts it back together and
Oh,
it
I
fits
like
her
that.
head.
Maggie
It was a
to
cute
me
little thing.
one of the more interesting parts of this episode.
She is.
Yeah.
Maggie, throughout, seems like one of the characters who have not changed and kind of is still
she's got
good.
a little bit more precocious, but at least her dialogue's not terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no jerk-ass Maggie.
No, that would be tough to pull off.
I mean, I guess when she tries to saw Homer's head open and hits him with the bat. And
So she started out jerk-ass, because that was season
exactly.
2.
That was the old one. More lemonade.
And butts.
Bumps.
Lani has no idea what that is.
I'm lost. Okay.
So it's fine.
It's a guy thing.
Just roll with it.
It's a guy thing. Oh,
Just roll
okay.
with it. Just roll with it if you hear something strange. Or if a shrieking voice comes in and says, I'm Hemus!
Just go with it.
I'm assuming that'll be cut.
I'm not cutting Hemus. You guys want Hemus, you're going to get all of Hemus. I'm leaving all Hemus in from now on.
Let me tell you what Hemus thought of this episode. It was a piece of crap. I'll see y'all later. Bye now.
All right.
Must be a guy.
You still got 1 week to vote, people.
Is that what we're doing? The New Year's episode? We're gonna kill someone off?
I guess.
All right, we're gonna be drunk, so we're not gonna know.
thought into it.
So then we cut to Homer at the power plant. He's leaving for work. Sort of funny-ish. He runs into Burns and he goes, Mr. Scrooge.
Yeah, but here's the weird thing. Then they do another Scrooge reference with Mr.
Yes.
Burns right after, which was actually really funny, where he says, Homer, you need to do this and this, and also you'll be visited by 3 spirits. Oh, wait, that's my schedule. Smithers, cancel my 10:30 spirit. That's actually pretty funny, but
Yeah.
I thought the whole joke was, the punch was taken away by the fact that they made a separate Scrooge reference right before that.
Yeah.
It just
blew
took the
their
punch
load.
out. Yeah, it blew their load. That's a better way to put it.
Classic Mr. Burns, always blowing his load
Yeah,
around
so
Christmas
I don't
time.
understand. Like, just I don't know why have that Mr. Scrooge line if you're gonna do this better Scrooge gag right
Yeah.
after.
Agreed. So what happens? Homer leaves. Homer's on his way home.
Oh, there was something with his car. And he was like, I'll get a beer because that'll help me drive.
No, Mo is dressed up as like a woman with a baby carriage.
Oh, that
Right.
was what that was.
To
Got
kind
it,
of
yeah.
trick
Tricks him
him,
into crashing the car into a snowdrift, and then Homer's like, he hurt his head and he's punch drunk, and he goes, "Oh, a beer will help me drive."
Yeah, I didn't like any of that.
No.
From the disdain in your voice, I could tell you didn't.
The biggest problem with this episode is that Marge realizes that Homer was tricked into being late, so she wants to go find him and forgive him. But he's not completely without fault. And she even says, she's like, "Oh, it's only a little bit his fault. That's all I ever wanted," which is kind of lazy. I feel like that's a way of working around it. But basically, he should know better. If Marge really wants him to be home on Christmas Eve, for dinner, he should know better than to stay for a beer, especially if you're driving. That seems very irresponsible
Yes.
these days.
Yeah, here's my question, though. Mo tricks him to get into the bar. Fine. Homer has 1 beer. 1 beer's okay. It's not so terrible.
Yeah.
And then Mo says, "Oh, I'm so sad. I'm alone on Christmas. My mom died on Christmas." Blah, blah. The sob story. Pity me, pity me. Mo actually says, "Okay, why doesn't Homer invite Mo home
that's
for
all-
That was
Christmas?"
what was gonna happen.
That's what I thought was going to happen when they
They're
didn't.
very good friends.
Yeah, then Mo has a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And nobody's late. It's
Yeah. I like.
Easy solution.
yeah.
It was just to get Homer out of the house so Marge could loosely get mad at him.
It's such a weak
Very weak.
plot to
Yeah.
have. Oh, Homer is lonely on Christmas and Marge can't find him in Springfield. That's a very weak play. It's not. It's hard to put a lot of dressing on such a weak. Usually we talk about how there's not enough meat on the story bone or the joke
Right.
bone. In this case, it's not so much the meat; it's that the bone itself is kind of weak and
Yeah.
hollow.
There's not enough marrow in the story bone.
there's not enough marrow in the story bone. And
So many phallic references in this conversation.
That wasn't even on purpose.
by the way, story bone. I always picture a femur. I don't picture.
I always picture a femur too.
Yeah, I don't picture an erection.
Sorry, I was like,
There's not enough
"Oh,
semen in the story boner.
Ironically, I picture the joke bone as a penis, but I don't know what that says about me or my jokey penis. But,
Me and my jokey penis might be the name of this episode. Merry Christmas, everybody.
This is definitely a guy thing.
but yeah, so it's a weak story. So then to kick it off with such a weak inciting incident where you have to have all these stars aligned for it to work, and it doesn't. It's like having that one loose thread and you pull it and the whole sweater falls
all of
apart.
it falls apart.
And that's what this is. So since it is a weak. Since there's no marrow in the story femur,
Yeah.
not the erection. Since there's no marrow in there, having this really weak inciting incident where there's an easy fix. Bring Mo to Christmas dinner.
And I feel like
it just highlights it.
Season 7, 8, they would have done that. That would have been...
Yeah, and they would have, and then they would have workshopped it, and they would have figured out how do we make an episode like what happens next now that Mo's a Christmas dinner.
Right.
And,
I feel like that's a much more conflict, like a premise that would inspire more conflict. Like Mo in the Simpsons house for Christmas Eve dinner. What's that going to be like?
I'm starting to get a theory. It took 63 episodes. I'm starting to finally come to a theory of why the show is not as good as it used to.
Okay.
But I don't know if I can't. It's all conjecture because I'm not in the writer's room. I don't know what they do, and frankly, it seems. It's almost more of a conspiracy theory than anything because I can't see why they would do this, but it seems like the problem is rewriting. They're not doing more than one draft, or they're doing more than one draft. They're not, I feel the show was famous for just rewriting the episode over and over. They'd record the voices, they'd do the animatic, and then they'd rewrite the whole thing again until they make it work. And I feel like that's something that, like you said, in season 7, season 8, they would go, you know what, doesn't make sense that he wouldn't just take Mo to dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think the words "that doesn't make sense" ever get uttered in the writers' room anymore.
It's got to be conspiracy theory because I can't imagine these highly paid writers in this very corporate structure aren't doing multiple drafts. But that seems to be I can't see that being the case, but it seems to point to the biggest reason why these episodes are so much weaker than they used to be.
Right.
Because these are problems that you would think would get fixed once you rewrite the episode a few times.
Yeah, I agree.
You eventually it just becomes tighter and tighter and tighter. It's like Doomsday. It's like not the
Doomsday, the
supervillain.
Yeah. Yes.
The original origin for Doomsday is he's a Kryptonian assassin or monster creature.
Right. He was created in a lab.
Yeah, he's created in a lab, and they kill him. And then they bring him back, and now whatever they killed him with, he's immune to. And then they kill him again, and then he comes back, and he's even stronger.
He's supposed to be like the embodiment of evolution.
Yeah, exactly. And he's
survival
just
of the
killed
fittest.
over and over and over and brought back stronger and stronger. And that's what The Simpsons used to do with their episodes early on. They would just kill the script, rewrite it from scratch. It would be tighter and stronger. And I feel like instead of like Doomsday, now these new Simpsons episodes are more like the Doomsday from the new movie, where it just seems to be a General Zod clone.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's the trailer for Batman and Superman. I mean, I completely agree with you, and I loved your analogy of bringing Doomsday.
I thought you would appreciate that. I'd bring some the little comic book knowledge I have.
There you go.
Yeah, well, it's not Spider-Man, but I know my DC a little bit.
Yeah.
The reference is lost on me, but that's okay. I get it. I understand.
Let's talk
analogy.
more about comic books and penis while we have planning
While
here.
you have your feast posting on
let's do that.
We did skip one scene I liked.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to talk about.
Marge is going through the Christmas music stations on the cable box.
Yeah.
Which I'm as a 31-year-old who lives in Brooklyn, I'm a cord cutter. I don't have cable, but my parents do, and so when I do go over for the holidays, that seems to be the thing, is going on the TV music stations and selecting.
Well, you can also have Pandora has stations like that, and online radio.
I'm not a big streaming music guy. I have tens of thousands of MP3s that I, spent hours and hours like ripping CDs and putting on my hard drive. I'm not ready to just throw all that effort away to listen to the same 10 songs over and over. But the Christmas stations were really funny. So it was like there was a rap one,
Hip Hop Hosannas, which I wrote. That's the one I wrote.
But I loved the Vin Scully Christmas, and it was just Harry Shearer doing his classic Vin Scully impression, and basically just talking about Christmas, but also doing a baseball game
and saying he's recording it while at a baseball game.
That might have been my favorite gag of the episode.
Yeah, that was pretty good. One quick thing, in the same scene, I think, Marge is opening, I guess, the Christmas ham that they're going to eat. And I don't remember, I think it was Pineapple Plopper was the brand, and the picture was Spider-Pig. So,
really?
I don't know if it's a reference.
Yeah, I guess they...
a sneak reference.
Was this also when she put with the rake? And
well, that was, if not this scene, a scene shortly after this.
Okay.
I like that too. Well, we could talk about it. She had gingerbread men, and like a house made of gingerbread. It was the Simpsons house, and they cut to the scene, and she has a gingerbread sideshow Bob and puts him on a gingerbread rake that hits him in the face.
It was very small, very
it was
subtle,
cute.
I liked it.
It was a cute little reference. Yeah,
it's not as funny to me as Bart eating off the heads of all the gingerbread men.
Yeah, right. But it didn't detract anything. I was just like, oh, I see what they're doing, and then they moved on. Like, they didn't call a lot of attention to it. There was another thing where there was a clip from Miracle on 34th Street on the TV. I think this was when Homer is in the bar.
Yeah, like a live action actual clip.
Yeah, an actual clip from the movie, and then Mo turns
What
and
is
goes,
this, Muppet Babies?
yeah, kind of. And then Mo is like, few people know that verdict was overturned in the sequel.
Yeah,
and
that
I
was
like,
so stupid.
Why do you need this?
Stupid.
Like, did they license a clip from the movie just to make that great joke?
Maybe it's Fox, but
It's probably Fox, but
it's such a stupid joke, and again, that's something where if you were killing the episode and rewriting it, that line would not survive.
Yeah.
One of the other things in the Doomsday process.
Well, because that line has nothing to do with the episode.
Right. Well, and it's not funny.
Yeah.
And they talk about this in the commentaries and stuff in the classic episodes. Not in that rewriting process, they would do table reads with each draft, and every time, and if a joke didn't get a laugh, they would cut it. And you're hearing the same joke 30, 40 times. Yeah. And the ones that still got a laugh every single time were the ones that stayed in. And that's why the classic episodes, every line is just amazing, because they listened to it 40 times and they kept laughing. We've watched it in syndication 40, 50, 60, 700 times. And we keep laughing. That's a joke. If they would have done a second table read, and I'm pretty sure they do less table reads because now everybody's literally phoning it in and they're all millionaires and they're not showing up to work on a daily basis. But that's a line that in the second draft they would go, we can cut this. Yeah. This is not necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing I can think of is maybe they wanted to have the clip in there, give it like a holiday feel, and they needed a line to go with it.
There's so many holiday feels in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, they'd already hammered that nail home so many times.
Yeah.
This is the most Christmassy Christmas episode you could have.
Yeah. And most shoes a rat away. You know what I was thinking? It's like, why don't you be friends with the rat? Make him your pet.
That's true. Instead, he almost kills it with a baseball bat.
Yeah, and that was also a joke, a reference to the story. That
he said, "Hey, it's Christmas Eve. You shouldn't be stirring," and then he just clocks him. It was fine. I didn't hate that.
Joke that just makes you be like, huh.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't hate it, but it was just like, it was not. It would not have survived the Doomsday writing process.
So Homer finally does realize he's running late because Mo changed the clock. Which again, if you're already running late when you were on your way there, and you shouldn't need a clock to realize that you've been there too long. But,
I really was upset by that. That made me really sad, and it made me really mad at Mo. And I just that. I just hate when they're mean to each other. You guys have talked about this in other episodes, but I hate when they're just actively mean. And when that happened, I think I actually gasped that he had changed the clock.
You were so shocked. Your hat flew off and went into the ceiling.
Which is not something, it's a Simpsons episode, whatever. But I was like, oh, that's so
cruel of Mo. Yeah,
it's Christmas Eve.
You're right. That's a great point. And I mean, they didn't really need that because Homer could have just gotten drunk and just forgot what time it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, the no marrow. It's just there's nothing to hang it on. So he does get to the house. Marge is furious. Marge kicks him out. And he starts driving away. And there's a cool technique they do. I don't think they really used it as well as they could have. But basically, they're narrating their own thoughts. Like Homer is thinking in his head, and we're hearing it. And it keeps cutting back and forth between him and Marge, and she's doing the same thing.
Yeah, like caption boxes if this was a comic book.
Yeah, almost kind of like Annie Hall, like an Annie Hall technique. I thought that was a really cool new thing to do. We talk about how experimenting in these later seasons is a good thing. It didn't really do much, again, because the story is so weak. Anything you do is not really gonna help because, what are you supporting? But I really did like that they experimented. I liked the technique itself. It didn't. There was one really not funny joke where they're thinking back and forth, and then Homer just has a total non sequitur where he's thinking, "I wonder if there's birds on the moon."
Yeah.
I was like, that just deflates the whole thing.
That was whatever.
It's stupid. And then they cut to Wiggum and Lou, and they have their own. And I could have been okay with that, even though I think it kind of cheapens the previous scene.
Yeah.
But it wasn't funny.
Oh, I actually did think it was funny with Lou and Wiggum, where Wiggum is like, it's nice being here with Lou, and Lou's thought is, what kind of a cheapskate only gives one corn cob holder for Christmas?
I do like the idea of one corn cob holder for Christmas. I guess I was just upset that it deflated the emotion of the previous.
I was not as fond as the kind of voiceover for Marge and Homer as you were, and especially when Homer was just like, man, I miss Marge, and it's just like, that's the great
problem.
writing.
Yeah, that's the problem, is the actual writing.
I'm saying what I feel.
I like the technique, it's just the writing was...
It felt very cheesy.
Yeah, it was
very base.
I guess you could have done it a better way. I don't know what they would have done, but
I'm sure if you rewrote it 40 times, you'd come up with something.
Yeah.
I felt awkward watching it.
Yeah, exactly. Show us that Homer misses Marge. All right, whatever. We've made this point several times in the past, so I'll move on. I want to talk about Mo having a fun Christmas on his own. So Mo is now, Homer has left, and Mo's in the bar by himself, and he's singing karaoke. And I don't remember what song he was singing, but the karaoke machine...
Good King Wenceslas.
Yeah, right, Good King Wenceslas. And the karaoke machine just shuts down. It says, voice not good enough. It just breaks.
That
was really funny because he looked like he was having so much fun.
Yeah.
And it was that much more heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But that's what he deserves for messing with the clock on old
Honestly,
Homer.
yes.
Yeah,
That's
Hank
right.
Azaria was doing like a Japanese voice, which was a little, these days a little questionable, but the delivery made the line funnier. Like I forget the exact words, but it was something like voice not good enough.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mo.
I'm sorry, Marge. I'm sorry, but it was Christmas and we were under the mistletoe.
That's lettuce caught in a spider's web.
All right.
So Homer is kind of wandering the night in Springfield. He ends up at the Quickie Mart, which is a fine place to go. It's always open, even on Christmas Eve. And they had what can best to be described as an agonizing scene where Homer continues to play the lotto until Apu stops him.
Yeah. Again, I guess they were trying to do the rake gag where it just kept going. It was the exact same animation and sound over and over and over.
Yep.
I lost. Give me another one. I lost. Give me another one.
Yeah, I don't think any of us enjoyed it. Clearly,
No.
The second I brought it up, you all just kind of started nodding,
The mood just kind of
just like yeah.
when you talk about like a dying uncle. It's like,
I wonder if it was a scene filler, like they needed a couple more minutes on the episode or
like the episode
something.
it went short and they had to pad it out. Could be.
It didn't feel like it moved anything.
No, it was the same kind of thing we've seen before. Nothing different, nothing funny.
Like, what the hell is that? What are they? It's like, oh, maybe if I win the lotto, Marge will forgive me. I mean, yes, probably. But
Yeah,
like,
but
what,
Justification.
what kind of story
Why are you
beat is
thinking that? Like,
Yeah.
why is that the next thing in this illogical
Yeah,
progression?
exactly. Why is that the next thing?
Yeah. And then they kind of do that within that scene where Homer says, doesn't the money go to the schools? And Apu is like, have you ever seen our schools? And Homer has either a memory or a flashback or a fantasy or something where
I think
they're
it was a
going.
fantasy.
Where they're going. Well, hey, I've fantasized about boring things too. It's bring us your toilet paper night at Springfield Elementary, which is a very funny idea.
Yeah.
But this was all really, really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my school did that.
Bring us your toilet paper
Yeah,
night?
you would bring like paper towels and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
A public school?
Yeah.
What are my taxes going to fund?
Teachers have a very hard time, and they need you to bring some school supplies.
All right, well,
A lot of very
was weird.
specific references for your
Yeah.
childhood in this episode.
jeez, Jack.
Yeah.
Do you want to just talk about your pain for the rest of this episode?
That's,
Just unload on us. We're here.
I've given a name to my pain, and that name is Hemus.
Hey, did someone call me? Hemus. He has a laugh now, apparently.
Great.
He ran out. Just what you wanted. More Hemus bits. Merry Christmas, Jack.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was weird. I did like Apu says, I'll give you a secret. These hot dogs started their lives as Twinkies. And Homer takes one out and opens it up, and the Twinkie filling falls and is basically acid and
Yeah.
just eats the floor away. I thought that was a funny, cute visual gag.
Yeah.
I like it. Classic Quickie Mart is kind of dirt food.
Yeah. I mean, I've just seen it so many times.
Yeah, I mean, things that were not really the best in this episode felt really good. We're hanging on to whatever we can here.
Sucking that marrow dry.
Yeah.
That's about where I wrote, this is just sad.
Yeah. This is just sad.
I was just
in
getting very
general.
depressed in the middle of this episode.
Yeah, I mean, this episode's just a mess. Like, there's a scene where I think Bart is saying he can't sleep, and he calls
He's
Lisa.
excited about Christmas
He's excited.
morning.
It's Christmas Eve, yeah. So he's like, the one night kids can't fall asleep is the one they need to, or whatever. And he's like, I need something to help me fall asleep. Lisa, come in here and tell me the story of Jazz. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it's a funny idea.
But then Lisa starts to tell him the story of Jazz.
Yeah.
That wasn't funny. And then it's just
I like that. I thought that was funny.
well, she starts telling the story of Jazz, and then she's like, but that's not important. Let me tell you why I really came in
That makes
here.
no
Yeah.
sense because
It's
she
just
was
like, well,
very
why did you
upset.
do
It was
it?
very urgent. Why? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's you're sacrificing logic and character. Well, basically logic for the sake of the
The
joke.
cleaner joke would just be, Lisa, tell me the story of Jazz. Oh, I would love to, but first we have to deal with this.
That's very Zucker Brothers. It's like
Right.
It's like we gotta. What's headquarters?
Yeah.
It's like
That's a big building downtown with a lot
that's
of
not
policemen in
important
it.
right
But that's
now.
not important right now, yeah.
So then, so Lisa is saying, hey, Bart, I'm worried about Mom. She seems really sad. And they cut to Marge, and she's stringing popcorn on a string. And they're playing the what's the name of that Christmas song? Dun, 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 dun. Is that Carol of the
Carol
Bells?
of the
Bells, yeah.
Yeah, and it just didn't quite fit. Again, you were saying how this was a very Christmassy episode. They were just cramming every element of Christmas
Cramming the
possible in there.
Christmas.
And the Carol of the Bells was not the right song choice for that because whenever you hear Carol of the Bells, it's a very propulsive, energetic
kinda like
song.
an epic,
it's like
exactly.
yeah. Usually when you hear that song, like shit's about to go down. Quintessential Home Alone. Like
Yeah.
it's like he cocks the air gun and he's like, that's again. If you want to check
I
out,
was going to say, if there's
any
any moments in Home Alone 2 you guys like, you should check out our
sync
commentary.
points.
Nice plug, guys.
But
it's not shameless.
When you hear Carol of Bells, it's usually something like epic, or it's about to start something, and it just wasn't the right Christmas song for her. Just stringing up, like I thought that's what they were doing. It's like, oh, what's she gonna string this popcorn up for?
Yeah.
But no, it was they just wanted to show her that she was melancholy and that she was doing this, and that was the Christmas. And why wouldn't they play a sad Christmas song? Why wouldn't you play "Have Yourself a Very Merry Christmas"?
Silent Night or something.
I mean,
That's a
I'll be
downer
home
one.
for Christmas.
There you go.
What about that?
Did they actually play that song at all in this episode? Considering the title is basically the same thing.
I don't remember.
I don't
I don't
remember
think
it
so.
either.
But I mean,
Should've.
there's plenty of
Should
sad
have.
Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Why would you do that one?
I don't know, but what did you think of Maggie was kind of taking the popcorn off that she was
I thought
threading
that's
and
cute.
eating it? I feel like that joke has been done, like,
I felt more sad for Marge.
yeah.
I was like,
Even Maggie's against it.
Even
Yeah.
Maggie. That's a good point. All right, okay, now I like it. All right, you got me around. So then Mo falls into the living room, basically
Oh, he's
just falls
trying
through the chimney.
He's trying to, like
What
Santa
was
does.
that?
Yeah, no, I get it, but it's basically just a Deus Ex Machina because Mo just comes in and says, "I'm the one who took Homer away from
Like-
you,"
And
and
I
Marge
was-
is like, "I forgive him."
How is there no Santa Claus even
Yeah.
reference for that? He came down the chimney.
Yeah, they like loose. Did they make a joke like he's not the man I want coming down the chimney? Or
Did
did I
they?
write that in my head? Am I
You
just
made
writing
it-
my own jokes now?
I mean, they made a line earlier where it's like Homer's setting a bad precedent for fat men being late.
Yes.
Right, oh, maybe
I
I'm
got
confusing with that line. Yeah.
But I was just like, so you have someone coming down the chimney
On Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve
Yeah.
at midnight. The kids are there at that point,
The
right?
kids were there. Yeah.
How is that not addressed? It just felt very weird. It felt more like Mary Poppins than it did like Christmas for a very Christmassy episode.
They should have had Dick Van Dyke come in.
Yeah.
As, "Oh, Marge, I'm the one who held Homer hostage."
Again, it's hard to justify any
Logic.
story changes because,
Yeah.
again, the story bone is so weak and fragile that there's really no point. But you would think there'd be a scene where you see Mo coming to terms and realizing, you know what, I really
Yeah.
fucked Homer over.
Right.
Let me go. You
Have
would think
Mo
there'd be a
walk
scene
by and just see that Marge is sad that Homer's
Yeah.
not there and be like, "I'm the one who held Homer
Right.
up."
You'd think
doesn't happen.
there
Yeah.
should be a scene like that, except again, the whole Mo Homer inciting incident was so
Terrible.
illogical and stupid that it's almost like, who cares? Like, what's
Yeah,
the point?
I guess.
Could have saved it though. I think there's something you could
I
have
think they
done.
could have made it a
Not
little
saved
bit better.
it, but
They could have made
yeah,
it better.
There
for
should have
sure.
been something.
Yeah. And then when Mo is actually in the living room, he kisses Marge
Hated
twice.
this.
Yeah, he
I
mouth
hated
rapes
this.
her.
The second time is extremely rapey.
Yeah,
Yep.
The first time was also rapey.
Well, but the second time was extremely rapey. there's lines to the rapiness.
And it was admittedly rapey.
Yeah,
because
'cause-
the line was, "I never give up."
Yeah,
right?
right. Something like that.
Yeah. No means no, Mo.
Yeah, no, definitely. No Mo.
No Mo, Mo.
Faux show.
No, it was.
Yeah, I mean-
hated it on Christmas Eve with her kids around.
Yeah,
Not
right.
Not that it's okay at any point, but
No.
it's just.
No.
It's especially worse.
Because again, it shows you even more that he does not understand the hint and does not understand the inappropriateness of it.
Yes.
Again, I don't think the show is going to be on for another 20 years. But,
Yeah.
like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, you would have Marge, you'd have Mo hitting on Marge and like giving her flowers when he thinks Homer's dead. Now,
Yeah.
So now 15, 20 years later, you have him kissing her. I
Uh-oh.
wonder
Where
if
are you going with
so
this,
I wonder
Jack?
if in like 15, 20 years, if the show was still going and like a season 42, he would just like take his dick out and just be like, he's just like, he's
You like what you see, Marge? Merry Christmas.
like I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but 15 years ago, if you would have
Well-
said Mo is gonna
Fist of Adam.
kiss rape her and like
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the escalation of the situation.
exactly, eventually he's gonna take his dick out.
So let's hope that the show goes off the air before we have to see Mo's penis.
That's all.
That's all we're asking.
We're lowering our bar. Can we say that the worst episode ever podcast? Our new goal is that by the time the show finally ends its run, Mo does not take his penis out
Yes.
and show it to Marge,
We saw
please
Bart's
no.
we saw Bart's penis in the movie. That was enough.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the only penis we need.
and he wasn't
In the
showing it to
movie?
anybody.
Yeah, you see Bart's penis in the Simpsons movie.
Yeah, check it out on our Sync Points number 1
I don't remember
Simpsons
that.
movie commentary.
Well, you should watch the movie and listen to our commentary track.
Nice plug.
So Homer's wandering through Springfield. Everything's kind of closed. We've seen this kind of thing before where Marge kicks him out and he's roaming through Springfield trying to find out what to do with himself. None of it is too good except one moment that I really, really did like where Homer is walking by the Welcome Center, I think at the mall. And he passes the welcome center, and he's like, "Oh, the welcome center," and it just shuts down in increasingly ridiculous
it was
ways.
an escalation of jokes. All the doors were shutting down. Like one Merry Christmas sign flipped over to a for rent sign.
Right.
And,
but this one, it being a welcome center, and he's like approaching the
Yeah.
welcome center of all things, and it just immediately shuts down.
Yeah, like all these
was funny.
armored gates. And
Yeah.
no, it was very funny.
And then he winds up at the movie theater, and the movie's playing as like a Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen concentration camp movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of bought it just because Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen are now trying to do so much
They're-
serious
yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
It was kind of a funny joke on that.
Right. It's a play on that, but I thought it was weird that he actually buys a ticket to that movie, and we don't see any of it.
Yeah,
I didn't think
good
anything
point.
of that.
I mean, well, it was just like, why are we doing this then? Like, what are you...
I mean,
what
the
is
point
this?
was that you were seeing the lonely people at the movie theater, although...
But it didn't do anything.
I was
Homer
surprised there was
wasn't
no reference to Jewish people there, because isn't that like a tradition on Christmas? Jewish people go to the movies?
on Christmas
Yeah.
Day. This was Christmas Eve.
Okay,
Well,
I'm
if you
sorry.
wanted to see a movie about concentration camps?
No, I don't think they'd want to see it. Well, maybe. I don't know.
maybe. You never
If
know.
it's a good movie, which it
Yeah,
probably
it's
is.
a-
If
Probably
it's
wasn't.
Jonah
If
Hill
it's,
and-
yeah.
Fuck you to the holiday.
Yeah. But yeah, this whole movie theater thing was just so weird. Like, I like that the choice of losers at the movie theater was good. Like, it was Gil, it was Kirk Van Houten, like that's who you would expect to see. The
Yeah.
cat lady, which
and then
whatever.
some random guy. I
Some
think.
random dude with a dog that had like one of those like his fur was like a spot around its eye. I don't know what the hell that was. If that was a known character or just a weird reference to something.
It's old fur eye.
It was Old Fur Eye, my favorite new character. But it's just like Homer didn't really learn anything at the movies. Like Gil was just like, it's great being here at the movies, and it's
Yeah,
so
Homer
sad.
didn't want to be there.
It was just like Homer is there, and then he leaves.
He gave his popcorn away before he left.
Yeah.
That's true. So maybe he learned to
Isn't
be a
Kirk
good
with
person. I don't
Luann?
know.
Isn't he married to Luann?
Yeah, I thought he was married again, and he asked Homer for $10,000.
I don't know.
It's just none of it was anything. I was just like, what is this? Why is
I
this
feel
here?
like there's something there. It's not a bad.
It's not a bad
setting.
concept.
It's not a bad
I
con- yeah,
completely
it's
agree.
just-
I like the setting, but there was nothing. There were
If
no
they had
jokes.
doomsdayed it, I'm sure
If they
after
had
40,
doomsdayed it.
40 iterations, you would have had something.
Right, it had no bearing on anything, and it was just there. Okay, so Homer walks up and finds Flanders, who is selling at the Leftorium Boutique, I guess,
Yeah,
like one
like
of
a
those mall
Christmas
carts.
shops. Yeah.
Right. And Flanders is there. He hasn't made any sales. And Homer buys a left-handed eyelash curler to kind
Yeah.
of be a friend to Flanders when he
Give him
needs a
some
friend.
money.
I
Yeah.
liked the joke that Flanders had, though. Your eyelashes are already long and luscious. Why do you need an eyelash curler for?
Are you just buying this out of pity? Yeah, that was good. I like the idea that Homer has luscious eyelashes.
Me too.
But then he says, jerk-ass Homer has become ass-jerk Homer.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Like I get the
They're winking at jerk-ass
right.
Homer being
and the
a thing.
original concept is I'm not being a jerk ass Homer right now. I'm being
Right.
the opposite, which I guess ass jerk is the opposite, but
I guess,
that
but
doesn't make any sense.
what is
Ass
this?
jerk Homer.
That's not a joke. It's not anything. Like,
What is that?
what is
If
it?
he had been dancing,
And his,
Like
and
he's
his
jerking
ass
his
was
ass?
jerking.
moving his ass back and forth.
All right, that could have saved it.
That
I'm
could've-
so happy that I'm being generous and I'm going to jerk
I'm
my
gonna jerk
ass.
my ass, Homer. I like that. I like the way.
Do the ass jerk.
There's a way to make the joke work.
Yeah,
They just
I think
didn't
you're
do
right.
it.
You
I
could
think
have
you're right.
Casey Kasem come out with a microphone and be
Doing
like,
the ass jerk.
everybody doing the ass jerk.
That could have worked. Instead, what we got, that line was insane. It just didn't make any sense. But it's this weirdly emotional scene with Homer and Flanders. That
Yeah,
kind
Flanders was very, very sad. This was a very sad scene.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know when they killed off Edna. This aired last year.
Right.
So when did I don't know when they killed Edna off. It was probably like 6
yeah.
months, 8 months after Marshall Wallace died.
Right.
So
I think it
I'm
was the
guessing
beginning
it was
of that
probably,
season.
It was probably very soon before this.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that Flanders would be very sad, but
It was, but, you know, again, it's interesting to see a despondent Homer find a despondent Flanders. Flanders, who he doesn't like. Flanders is even in an even worse place than Homer, and Homer is a friend to him.
Yeah.
Like, that's something interesting, but it didn't make any sense in this episode.
and we again, I don't know what the story is here. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought Homer was
Why
trying
all
to find
these things? Why are we doing this?
I thought Homer was trying to find company.
Yeah.
Like you have your next door neighbor who I'm
Yeah.
assuming he wants to go home and be with his kids. You know, go have Christmas with Ned. You know,
Yeah.
commiserate together.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Flanders would certainly invite Homer
Yeah.
in. Like, that's Flanders'
And
whole
he loves
thing.
Flanders' house. Flanders has like the nice
got a pool table
nice
and
pool
the
table,
draft
the bar,
beer.
the draft beer. He doesn't have the cucumbers with cottage cheese, the nacho Flanders styles anymore because his wife's dead. She doesn't make them.
They're so difficult to make.
But the draft beer in the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
It was
know.
just weird.
Again, I don't know what what was Homer trying? I thought Homer was trying to find company, and then he goes to the movie theater and he finds a group of loners. That doesn't cut it. He finds Flanders. I just don't know what Homer was looking for. This was clearly a journey episode. Homer is journeying, looking for something. Marge is journeying through Springfield and looking for Homer, always being one step behind. But what is Homer looking for? I don't get it.
I mean, the entire episode, I'm just thinking, why are these things?
Yeah.
Why is this? Why?
Yeah.
Why? And there are no answers.
Why? Why?
This episode is the existentialism of the Simpsons writers' room. There are no answers. Things just simply are.
Simpsons died today. So there's actually a really interesting cinematic shot in this episode that took me by surprise because you don't see a lot of cinematic shots. And by cinematic, I mean it's something that's slow and takes its time and that would make sense in a drama, in a feature film, but you don't really see it in half-hour television, especially half-hour comedy, because you don't really have the time to take your time with these kinds of shots. And it was very interesting. So it's a shot of the exterior shot of the Springfield retirement castle, and it says, extended visiting hours, please come visit the relatives. And then it pans over to the parking lot, and it's empty. So nobody's visiting their family on Christmas. Everybody's just kind of forgotten about their elders. And they just hold on the parking lot for several seconds before finally Marge and the kids drive into the parking lot. Like, that's an exterior establishing shot you would see in a movie, not in a half-hour comedy.
It sets you up for a lot of sympathy for
the
retired people in the
Yeah.
I thought it was really one of the most emotional, it's visual storytelling, first of all. Which is, I think it was one of the strongest things the show has done on any episode we've covered on this podcast. I thought it was really well done. Unfortunately, they don't really do much once they get to the castle.
Not at all.
Grandpa's very happy to see them, obviously. They just wanted to see if Homer was there. And then they feel bad, so they stick around for a little while. Not very long, apparently.
Well, I mean, Grandpa comes out and it's like, I have visitors. And then everyone's like, visitors? And like the entire retirement castle comes to see them.
On the show.
Yeah, and it's fine. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. This is a good setup. But like you said, there's nothing to it.
But then they just made fun of them the whole time.
Right.
And I was like, I feel bad for them now. You set it up that I would feel bad for them, and now you're making fun of them.
I do feel bad, and now you're laughing at them.
Yeah, well, I did like the line. It's like, yeah, we'll hear your old stories, Grandpa. And then he starts being racist because old people are racist.
Fun button or something.
I liked it.
He says, don't get me started about Puerto Ricans or something.
Yeah, it's
but
funny
Grandpa's
because
never been like racist
no,
like that.
No, but he's stand-in for old.
Right, but why not have a different old man do that? Why does that have to be Grandpa?
That's a good point. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of a bummer because they do stick around to be nice to Grandpa, but not very long because the next scene they're already gone, and you'd think Grandpa would be over for Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a mess.
Yeah, and also again, if this is a journey episode and Marge is going from point A to point B to point C looking for Homer, which again doesn't make sense, she shouldn't be forgiving him. Each stopping point should add something to the story or add something, and again, and this didn't.
It didn't.
Yeah,
didn't at all.
None of them did.
So Homer makes his way to the mall. I don't remember if he passes out or something. He basically comes to and sees a nutcracker, a walking nutcracker, and he's like, "Oh my God, am I living the child's story, the nutcracker?" And the guy is like, "No, I work for the mall. You got to get out of here." And then Homer says, "Man, you are a nutcracker."
Yeah, what does that mean?
What the hell is that?
I feel like a 12-year-old wrote this episode.
Yeah, it's like, you turned around the words, but made it different.
It's like ass jerk and nutcracker. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
It's not a joke. It's not anything.
I was also thought for a second it was Moe, coming to help Homer.
I did too.
Because the guy, we never see who was in the suit, but it sounded like Moe.
Right, it was Hank Azaria doing a gruff Moe-like voice.
Yeah. So that was confusing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also something.
That would have been helped it though. It would have helped it if it had been Moe.
It should have been Moe.
Yeah, it should have been Moe.
Redemption the whole
episode.
episode.
You could have your three journeys: Moe, Marge, and Homer.
Yeah. Homer, I'm here to bring you home, and I'm sorry I kiss raped your wife twice.
That's all. That's all we're asking for. I just want Moe to apologize for raping Marge. Yeah. That's all. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. If you're listening to this at the dinner table.
Who's listening to this at the dinner table?
No, everyone. Look, all of our listeners.
They're all individually wearing headphones, or is it playing
It's playing in the middle of the table.
iPhone in the middle of the table.
Everyone is eating in absolute silence. They've all just watched this episode and they're listening to us.
The Christmas tradition.
So, don't make fun of your old people, and don't rape Moe. Wait, don't rape Marge.
Yeah.
You can rape Moe. You can rape
Moe. It's eye for an eye, tooth for tooth.
That's right.
Yeah, and that Nutcracker thing went on forever too. Is if you're gonna make it, if you're gonna try to make it like, is this a fantasy scene? What's going on?
Right.
They didn't. I don't know. They didn't really do that. It was very just kind of ambiguous.
It was just whatever.
I don't know.
And then he leads him to this weird mall employees party, which Bart was trying to fall asleep, and it was like 12:15 at night.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is clearly like 1 a.m. on Christmas Eve. The mall is having like this weird
Well, that
employee
makes
party.
There
This-
were a lot of inconsistencies because it was
Yes.
12:15 then, and then when they went downstairs, Mo said it's a 1 minute till Christmas. So that
Oh,
was
wow.
already
You're right.
not right.
Ah.
And then we were like going to the sign store. There's no way it's open.
Wait a
And-
minute,
Yeah.
guys. Does this episode play with chronology?
I think this is a time travel episode.
I think they're traveling through time. I don't think every scene. That's
I-
why it doesn't make any sense.
I want
These
somebody
days.
to do a fan edit. I want somebody to do a chronological edit
Yes.
of this episode.
That's what it is. So Marge, oh my God, they see Grandpa first, and then Mo comes in. It makes so much sense
It's Pulp
now.
Fiction.
Yes.
No,
Oh, that explains when Mo got shot when he came out of the can.
all the time issues aside, it makes sense that this party would be very late at night. This was like a weirdo
On
rave.
Christmas Eve, though?
Yes.
I mean, it was a weirdo party for
Yeah,
sure.
it's a weirdo rave. It's exactly what it should be. Christmas Eve at like 3 a.m.
Well, it wasn't a rave. I thought it was the mall employee Christmas party.
Yeah, but it was also this weird rave where people are in like mascots and they're eating
guess.
giant houses. It was supposed to be like that rave from Go.
Okay, I
That
guess.
the kids
With the
dance.
giant Santa?
The kids like to party late at night.
Okay.
They don't
I
all go to bed at 9 o'clock.
I go to
at
bed
night.
at 9. I gotta get up
Yeah.
nice and early. I like getting my shut eye,
Not the
my beauty sleep.
not the Christmas mascots.
Yeah.
They're living it up. They're living the dream.
Well, speaking of Christmas mascots, one thing that I sort of liked at this weird party was Homer is talking to like a pumpkin man for all
Oh,
intents
yeah.
and purposes, and the guy just says Halloween merchandise goes on sale December 26th, and then that was it. That cut away.
Yeah.
I thought that was a funny idea because obviously Christmas merchandise
Yeah.
gets earlier and earlier every
Yeah.
year. It was just like a half-formed
It was
joke.
a lazy
though.
joke. It's just like, wouldn't it be funny if there was a non-Christmas thing here at this Christmas party? Like, whatever.
Right, but
It's
like
just low-hanging fruit.
half-formed, I would say.
Yeah.
They should really have rewritten it. It could have been interesting.
I think it was also. I think that pumpkin was from a Halloween episode, a Treehouse of Horror.
Oh,
Where
okay.
he killed people. I think.
Interesting. He
Yeah.
should have killed someone in this episode. It would have livened things up.
Killed
Merry
Mo
Christmas,
for
everybody.
trying to rape Marge.
Yeah, he should have raped Mo and then cut his head off.
There was another joke in that rave scene. Homer goes, "Is that girl doing that?" And then it cuts to her eating
Yeah,
the giant
gingerbread
house. I just felt weird. I'm like, is that a weird orgy joke in a Simpsons episode? Or
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. Did we watch one?
Yeah,
last
one
week or a
somewhat
couple weeks
recently,
ago.
similar.
Yeah, where they did something else.
Oh,
like
it was
that.
last week, Skinner's Sense of Snow, when Chief Wiggum was emptying his coffee out in the snow,
Oh, no,
and
I
you're
was-
supposed to think
yeah.
it's him peeing, and then he's like, would you help me out here, Lou?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of that one. No,
Oh.
there's one we've done recently where it was like a sex thing. It's like
Yeah.
it sounds like they're giving each other hand jobs or doing sex, or
Right.
something, but it turned out to be something innocent.
I don't know why they persist in doing these jokes where it's just like, yo, you're going to think it's about sex, but then it's not. Like, it's not
It's
funny.
low hanging fruit.
we don't
yeah.
think it's going to be about sex.
Yeah, it's The Simpsons.
Simpsons.
The woman
learned.
is not like
Yeah.
actually like putting candy canes, in strange
Yeah.
places.
One of the stronger scenes I think in this episode was when they go to the neon sign store.
I completely agree.
Yeah, so the first thing is we've talked about this on the show recently too, how since very early in The Simpsons they've done the gag where you're walking down a all black screen like a
Yep.
dark alley or whatever, and the neon signs of the places you're walking by are kind of just floating on by.
Yep.
We're not exactly sure what this trope is from. Obviously some kind of noir.
Like a
but
noir type
I don't know
thing,
if
yeah.
that exact trope is where that's going. And Looney Tunes I think did it too. It's been around for a long time. This is the first time I think they've ever really gone meta with it. Usually it's just sign gags. Usually it's whatever the signs
Right,
are is the
that's-
joke.
that's the joke,
And
yeah.
I don't think they did it this time. I think the signs were pretty straightforward. There was one that was now I don't.
It was some kind of funeral home was the only one I
Oh
remember.
yeah, they were visiting the big and tall morgue.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one, but one was the Kit Kat Club, which is from Cabaret.
Uh-huh.
Where so that was weird.
A lot of weird Holocaust things in this episode.
Like, why would they be going to the Kit
Like
Kat
the
Club?
concentration thing?
Yeah, I don't
Cabaret's
know.
got
So
a
I don't know if that was
Holocaust
a
thing?
joke or what, but it all kind of made sense when they do this meta twist that they've never done before, where Marge just flips on a light switch and you see that you're in a neon
Yeah.
sign store and all these neon signs are just like behind them.
Right, and the guy's like, are you actually going to buy a neon sign?
Yeah, yeah.
Again, it's like 12:15 on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
The neon sign store is not
Well,
open.
Yeah.
if it's got a noir vibe, maybe it's a
guess.
late
Well,
hours.
Shouldn't that guy be at the weird rave with the pumpkin man and the,
Yeah.
He might be
the gingerbread
Jewish.
house?
He might not.
Oh, well, he could still go to the party.
He could go to the party, but he's not part of the mall. He's across the street from the mall. And that's the other gag.
I would hope they would invite him, just to be nice.
So that's the gag I like is they go, Homer might be at this party. And they go, where is the party? And instead of telling them, he hits a switch where it lights up neon arrows pointing in the right direction.
Yeah,
I like that he communicates in neon.
Yeah.
That whole scene, it had an inner logic.
Yeah.
Like the Bad Religion song. It had an inner logic.
It's best to keep up from it. Yeah, we don't need to sing that. Please, garbage file that, please.
Yeah, and so it had an inner logic, and it was funny. The whole scene just it just worked.
Yeah, I agree. And then Marge and Homer find each other. I don't remember like what they do. All I remember of their big reunion scene is Homer saying that he does the chirping noise for Marge's keys.
Oh,
Yeah, what is that?
What is this? Like, they're like, now we're together, we can go have Christmas. Oh, first we have to find the car. And Marge is like, don't worry, I have one of those chirping keychains. And Homer's is like, well, but I've been doing the chirp. You don't actually have it. What are
is
you
that?
talking
So how
about?
do you find the car?
What are we talking about? What is this?
When was he doing that?
Yeah, I don't understand what that was supposed to be. Like, it's not funny to just say, oh, Homer can make the card like chit like that
that's
noise.
not funny.
That's not anything. It's just okay. What are you doing with that?
Maybe if he had swallowed it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
it
in the keys or
maybe
something.
That could have been funny, yeah.
Yeah,
Again, if they had killed it and Doomsdayed it back, that would not have survived.
No.
yeah, agreed. And then it ends, but it didn't end. That was like another act break, and then it came back for like a little kind of fourth act
For Christmas
stinger
morning.
thing. Yeah, where it's Christmas morning. We see Maggie fix the star, which we already talked about. There was some weird reference that I didn't get, but you did with they pan between the floorboards.
Oh yeah, it was two elf skeletons. I mean, they've been doing the in between the
Yeah.
floorboards
Yeah.
gags forever. And this one was I can't remember the names of the elves, but they're from some Disney thing recently. I don't know which one, but they've had their own like half-hour spin-off shows on like ABC Family, stuff like that.
Okay.
What was there? Prep and Landing. Was the
Okay.
name of the two elves. I can't remember what they're from. They're from some Disney. We could easily look it up. We're
Yeah,
not going to.
We're not
But
gonna.
it's from
Never
some
seen 'em.
Disney thing that, like, you know.
All right.
And
really
that-
sticking it to
Yeah,
Disney
exactly.
by referencing their things.
Yeah, that's the joke. It's like, hey,
Just like
look, we
Frozen.
killed these Disney characters. We're so rebellious.
Yeah,
It's like,
obligatory Frozen
yeah,
reference.
yeah.
It's mean.
That's how the entire writers' room talks.
Yeah, it's just, it was, I don't know. It was
And then we end with a very sour note, I would say, where there's just this weird. It keeps
it
panning
keeps
up
panning
into
up,
heaven,
which is weird because I thought they were panning up to Homer and Marge because Bart they were downstairs. Maggie made that Christmas star,
Right.
And Bart and Lisa
Bart and
like,
Lisa
where's
start opening
mom?
presents.
Where's mom and dad?
Yeah.
And they go, you know what they're doing up there, and it pans up, and we see the elf skeletons,
Right.
And then it pans up to heaven. They were clearly supposed to be panning to Marge and Homer to see what they were doing.
Well, we pan through Marge and Homer, and they're like
but-
cuddling in
I
bed,
know,
which is
but-
nice, like they're back together. But then it keeps
it's
going up.
so stupid.
It goes up into heaven, and it's like God giving Jesus. I don't know if we've ever seen like a Simpsonized Jesus before.
Maybe you've definitely never seen this one. The
I
God
never
was
had.
the God was like a less epic.
The usual God with
more
the five fingers.
It was a more
We
casual,
don't see his face.
but it still was the same character model. But this Jesus was like an
angsty teen.
Yeah.
teen, yeah.
And God just says Merry Christmas and gives him a present, and it's walkie-talkies.
Yeah,
and
he's like,
it's
first of all, it's my birthday. He's
Yeah.
like, well, it's two presents. He's like, with two walkie-talkies, it's still one present.
Right, the
It
joke
felt
being like-
very Family Guy to me.
It felt unfunny and horrible to me.
It totally
I
felt
agree
like
it could be a Family Guy.
Yeah, it
I would-
totally felt like a Family
It
Guy.
would have
joke.
felt in place in Family Guy. It felt very out of place here.
Yeah.
I'm Jesus. I'm an angsty son.
Way to get real satirical, Simpsons.
Yeah.
Well,
Take that Jesus down a peg.
Yeah.
And why walkie-talkies? And this is like the most
Yeah.
trivial thing ever.
I guess
Yeah,
so.
why
He and God
walkie-talkies?
can communicate.
Was that the best they could come up with? Walkie-talkies? It's
Again-
like two gifts in one.
Again, imagine if you had done 40 iterations of that same scene. How much better one would be. Like how much. It's just.
Yeah.
It's so unnecessary, so stupid. And then it ends. It goes to black, and God says. He calls him a jerk or stupid or an idiot. He calls Jesus an idiot, which is
Yeah, something like
somewhat
that.
subversive
That
for a
actually
Christmas
is some kind of
episode.
subversive.
But I don't take it serious because that was such a terrible interpretation of Jesus. I'm not saying that as like some kind of Christian, you can't treat Jesus like that. I just meant it was a stupid,
it's just-
unfunny,
it's not
lame
funny,
character.
and
Yeah.
Whether it was Jesus or not.
There's more comedy to be mined than just
So
whatever
it's
that
like,
was.
So like, even if God was like, "Fuck you, Jesus," like I wouldn't have any emotional.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
But even if he said that, it wouldn't have any emotional impact because that Jesus was such a non-character. You would be like,
Right.
it's like name calling a wall.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
No good. Well, Lani,
Yeah.
we're sorry that we made you watch this episode.
No, it's okay. A great conversation.
Yes.
So it's all
One
worth
last
it.
thing.
Sure.
So then it cuts to a promo to...
Sorry, there was one thing that we didn't address.
Sure.
The place to get drunk is at home.
Yeah, that's how. So the episode
Right,
ends.
that's how that ends.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's how it ends. Okay.
Yeah,
you're saying
It ends with like a title card that says "The place to get drunk is at home."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Whatever.
a nice
I
Christmas
just
message.
don't. I don't think that we really addressed that in this episode. It was just a really weird thing to like say. That's the button.
Right.
here.
Is that the message
Yeah,
of the
well,
episode?
that is the message because Homer. The whole point is like you want to be at home with your family on Christmas.
Yes, but no, because Homer doesn't go, I want to get drunk, and he goes to Moe's. Moe tricks him into coming into the bar.
Right.
Yeah. Getting
Keeping him
drunk-
from
Like, I'm
getting
sure
home.
Homer would have been home and getting drunk
Yeah.
anyway. It's
Yeah,
just...
I mean, it's still the same message. It's still, you should
Sort
be at
of,
home
but
for
it wasn't
Christmas.
Homer's idea.
It's
Homer
not very
was tricked
funny
into
to
it.
say you should get drunk at home.
No.
It's,
Yeah, it felt pandering.
yeah, it was really
Sound-wise.
pandering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good. And then before the credits roll, they do a promo for The Man Who Came to Be Dinner, the Kang and Kodos episode.
Right, and it was like part of the episode.
Yeah, it was like at the end of Back to the Future 2 where they show you clips from Back to the Future 3 before the credits roll. It's part of the movie.
I wonder if that's actually a sequel to this episode. Maybe we need to rewatch it.
Well, yeah, so Man Came to Be Dinner aired, might have been the very next episode. It aired a few weeks after that Christmas episode.
Right.
And I guess they were really trying to hype it up and to be like, this is going to be crazy. We're
'Cause
doing a Kang
It
and
was like
Kodos.
the winter spring premiere.
Yeah, and it was also a big episode because it was the aliens were in canon, and
Right.
and they were really hyping it up because I can't think of another time where a Simpsons episode as embedded into the episode. Like
Right.
if you watch this on Simpsons World or
Yeah,
if there was a
it's
DVD,
part of the episode,
it's
yeah.
going to be a part of the episode. And it's just that seemed desperate.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, Homer, unto us this day a neighbor is born. But why?
Because jerk-ass Homer has become ass-jerk Homer.
Okay, so that is it for I Won't Be Home for Christmas, and now it is time to rank it on our Hippo system, our Hippo scale. We're going to be looking at the humor, the integrity, the production values, and the originality on a 0 to 5 scale. Jack, would you do the honors of putting 2 minutes on the clock?
Beep boop beep beep boop boop beep boop boop beep boop.
There we go. And Lani, will you join us in ranking this episode?
Oh, sure. I
All
wasn't
right.
sure if I should. Or...
You are.
Okay.
You're very much a part of this. Your scores won't matter, but they'll be good. They'll be instructive to the listener. Okay, so 2 minutes on the clock. The humor of this episode. What are you guys thinking? Lani, we'll start with you. 0 to 5, 5 being the best.
5 being the best.
2.5 being a
2
dead
being
average.
Yeah.
Dead average. I gotta say like 1. I just didn't laugh very much. There were just a couple times. If I did laugh,
Yeah.
it was like a huh.
Yeah.
Or oh, okay.
Or like, I recognize that's cute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the Dr. Hibbert cart was the funniest joke for me. For the
Yeah, I
episode.
think me too. What are you thinking, Jack? I'm thinking a half point.
I was thinking 1.5, but maybe I think
1.5 is way high, I think.
No, I think 1 might be better.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really liked the neon gags. I liked what was that? I said there was one other joke that really made me laugh, and I can't remember what it was. I'll say 1.
Yeah, I'm saying 0.5. I like the Dr. Hibbert card, the neon sign gag, and that was kind of it. I mean, most of this was just weird jokes that weren't jokes. So anyway, the integrity of this episode, that's kind of just overall, like, are the characters themselves? Are we in an actual world?
Are they being jerkasses? Are they being ass jerks?
Are they being ass jerks?
Well, I think the core problem with this episode, not bringing Mo home, I think is a big integrity issue.
I'll agree.
I think he would. I think I have enough faith in Homer's character that he would do that. So that really brings it down for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Mo mouth raped Marge twice.
Yeah.
Also true.
That's the definition of not integrity.
I'm going to take away 1 whole point for that.
1 whole point for rape.
Yep. That's probably a good move.
And Homer should have known better and been home, gone home after a beer. Marge shouldn't have been quite as easy forgiving. It's like, yeah, he wasn't entirely at fault, but she should have still been mad at him. It was almost like she, by going on this journey and suffering and trying to find Homer, it was almost like she was trying to find penance for treating Homer poorly and being too hard on him. And it's like, you weren't too hard on him. You shouldn't have to suffer. He should come back to you. Integrity, I would say, overall, very low. I'll go with 1.
I'm also going to go with a 1 for all of the reasons that both of you just said. The production values on this episode, not terrible there's actually some nice looking stuff in this episode.
The music.
Yeah, I
The
think
music was good.
I think this was one of the more solid episodes we covered. The music,
Production-wise.
yeah. The music was great. The Christmas look of Springfield, the Christmas opening theme. I really liked the Cosmic Wars holiday special, like the Darth Vaders and the R3D3, and
filled with soup.
and there was some parts of the weird rave I liked. I love the neon store. All the good things that really shown in this episode were production related.
Agreed.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Oh,
Wow.
I
That
was
seems
gonna say
high.
3.
I'm gonna go just above average and say 3. And finally, the originality of this episode.
Which is also our story, our structure,
Yeah.
our bone score.
The old bone score.
Yeah.
All of us are just making not good faces.
There's barely a bone. There's no marrow.
Yeah.
It's like the bones of Samuel L. Jackson in Unbreakable. They call me Mr. Glass.
Mr. Glass.
Aren't you the one who said it feels like a 4th grader wrote this?
Yeah. Which is not the first time I've said that on
Yeah,
the show
no,
about
okay,
other
sure.
episodes.
In terms of originality, that's saying a lot.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean even if you're taking the originality on the strict word originality, it's not
Right.
the most original episode.
No,
Homer
Homer
does
gets
something
kicked
wrong,
out of the house.
and Marge goes looking for him.
Right. We've definitely seen this before. It could have been better. It
I feel
could
like
have
a
not been
1
this.
might be too high.
I'll probably go about a 1.
I might go
Actually.
0.5. I don't know. What do you think?
Well-
I would say 0.5. I
We're
wouldn't go as far
counting
as 1.
storytelling here. All right, I will.
Yeah,
take
we're
0.5
talking structure.
because
We're talking originality.
There was no structure to this.
We're talking
episode.
Ozzy and the Straw.
There's.
Oh, that was
Dan
the joke
Ozzie?
I really liked. That was the other joke I liked. The Vin Scully.
We're gonna run out in 2 minutes on this timer,
Yeah,
Jack.
let me add some more. Beep boop beep beep boop beep beep boop beep boop beep.
All right, and that's it.
Wait, what are we doing? So what's
I'm
our
saying
scores?
I'm saying 0.5.
I don't know. I'm torn between 0.5 and 1.
You just told me to go down from 1 to 0.5.
I didn't tell you that.
You did. You said 1's too high.
I said 1 might be too high. I don't know.
It is too high.
For me, the humor
0.5.
of this was better than the originality, so that's why I would say 1 for humor, 0.5.
Yeah, I'm
All right,
putting
I'll
them
say
equal.
0.5. I'll say 0.5
for both. Okay, so we have crunched our numbers, and I Won't Be Home for Christmas has ranked very low.
Yeah,
Lower
yeah.
than I think we thought it was going
Definitely.
to be. It is ranked as a slightly better episode than Father Knows Worst, and a slightly worse episode than Kill the Alligator and Run.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously liked the episode, or hated the episode a little less than you guys. I think it was fell more on the painfully bland than the painfully offensive.
I mean-
rank, but it was really poor storytelling.
So it's number 7 now on our list.
that's low.
I actually think that's pretty fair because this was a very unfunny episode that was just a mess. There
I
were
feel like
lines in here that were
the
barely
bottom 10
jokes.
should be the Simpsons breaking episodes, and I don't think this broke the Simpsons. This was just bad.
I mean, yeah. Not all of them can break. Not every episode has to break the Simpsons.
No,
this
but
is
the
just a
bottom
bad
10
episode.
should be ones that break the
The
Simpsons.
Blue and the Gray is just a shitty episode.
Yeah.
That's our worst
Yeah,
episode.
the bottom 10 should be Simpsons breaking episodes.
But I
This
don't
one
think-
was not a Simpsons breaking episode.
I don't think it was either. I think a lot of our bottom 10 aren't Simpsons breaking, though.
Yeah, I might disagree.
Lisa Goes Gaga, maybe.
Yeah.
I still thought it was pretty bad.
It was very bad. But that's it for this episode of Worst Episode Ever. If you have an episode that you would like to suggest that we watch, you can do that on our website. It's wepodcast.com. We have a suggestion form you can fill out, and that helps us out. And while you're there, you can get to our Reddit, our Facebook, our Twitter, and you can also click through those Amazon links and help support the show. And while you're there, you can get Sync Points number 2, Home Alone 2,
Lost in New York.
Lost in New York.
We should
Check
have just
that
called
out.
it Sync Points 2 Lost in New
Sync
York.
Points 2, yeah. And they'd be like, you guys live in New York. How did you get lost?
It's a
not
big
that
city.
hard. It's a big city. We want to thank Lani for being our guest today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Come back
having
again
me.
sometime.
I
Lani,
would
do you
love
want
to.
Do you want to promote something or like your personal Twitter or anything like that?
My personal Twitter, Lani Lee 223 is my Twitter.
Okay.
I also have a show, a comedy show, Late Night with Lani. It's on Wednesday nights at the Pit Loft. You can check that out on Facebook. Just
There
Late
you
Night
go.
with Lani.
Cool. All right. I'm at Then Dan Says.
I'm at Jackie No Breaks.
And Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia is coming up at the beginning of January. You can Google around for more information about that. I co-host it with friend of the show, Dan Ozzie, in Brooklyn. And there's other trivia nights all across North America. And enjoy those responsibly, everybody. All right, next week we are going to be watching from season 14 an episode called Old Yeller Belly. And it's going to be a very special episode, Jack, because it is our Drunken New Year's episode.
Yay.
So last year we did an episode where we were drinking bourbon and tea because that's all we had. Maybe we'll actually buy some real drinks this year.
Well, I don't have any more bourbon, so we might just drink
Okay,
iced
well,
tea.
all right, well.
I have like 4-year-old K-Cups of
That works.
Yeah.
We'll just have that. No, we're planning on being drunk. We're watching an episode. We have no idea what it's about. I think it's just kind of a middle-of-the-road, bland episode.
Maybe
Very
we'll
fun.
have some surprises. We don't know.
We don't know what's going to happen. So that's it for this episode, everybody. Lanny, thanks again for being our guest.
Thank you so much.
And Lanny, how do we always close the show?
We always close the show with cutting the cake.
They listen to the show.
Thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas.
May the sauce be with you. Oh, since when is soup sauce? This is so non-canonical.
You have every right to be furious.
Oh, it's as bad as I remembered, and I haven't watched it since yesterday. Horrible, yet enthralling.